Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a new AI framework called PageIndex, and honestly, it's doing something pretty wild. It's forcing us to rethink how AI reads and understands complex documents, and it might just make years of established methods, well, obsolete.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll unpack the nagging problem that PageIndex was built to solve. Then we'll see how it literally thinks like a person, check out some unbelievable performance stats, get real about its downsides, and finally figure out when you should actually use it. All right, let's get right into it. To really get why PageIndex is turning so many heads, you first have to understand the huge frustration with the way we do things now, which is all based on a tech called Retrieval-Augmented Generation, or RAG for short. You see, traditional RAG systems are built on what seems like a simple, logical idea. Just find text that is semantically similar to what you asked. But here's the kicker, the thing that causes so many headaches. What sounds like your question isn't always the right answer. Similarity is just not the same as relevance. And that conflict right there, that's the source of all those almost correct answers that drive you crazy when you're working with complex documents. I mean, imagine asking for Q3 revenue and getting the number for Q2. Yeah, the text is similar, it's talking about revenue, but it's factually completely wrong. True relevance, that takes context and reasoning, not just a good vibe match.
So where does it all go wrong? Well, these systems chunk documents. They just slice them up into these artificial little pieces. And in doing so, they completely shatter the context, destroying the document's natural structure. They can't follow a simple instruction like see Appendix G because, to the system, the appendix is just another random chunk floating around somewhere. It's what some folks call vibe retrieval. It feels kind of right, but it's often dead wrong. So how in the world do you fix a problem like that? Well, PageIndex comes in with a pretty radical solution. Stop searching like a machine and start reading like a human expert. Instead of just hunting for similar words, it learns to actually navigate the document structure.
And this new approach is called Vectorless RAG. And really, that name says it all. It completely gets rid of vector databases, text embeddings, and that whole messy, complicated chunking process. We're talking about a fundamentally different way of building these systems from the ground up. So you might be asking, if there are no chunks, what's left? Well, instead of breaking the document apart, PageIndex builds a hierarchical tree of the document. The best way to think about it is like a super-powered, intelligent table of contents that a large language model can actually read and navigate to understand the document's internal logic. And this tree structure, this is what changes the entire game. The task is no longer about searching for an answer. It's about reasoning your way to it. It's this really elegant two-step process. First, the system scans the document and generates that tree index. Second, instead of searching, an LLM gets your question and the tree, and it just thinks its way to the answer. It navigates that tree just like you would skim a book's table of contents before deciding which chapter to read. And this right here shows you the difference so clearly. That long, complicated pipeline on the left, with the chunking and embedding and vector databases, it gets replaced by that much cleaner, more direct reasoning workflow on the right. It's a huge shift from brute force similarity to intelligent navigation. Okay, this all sounds amazing in theory, right? But the real question is always, how does it actually perform in the real world? Where being right is all that matters? Well, to find out, PageIndex was put through the ringer on Finance Bench. Now, this isn't just some random test. It's the absolute gold standard for financial Q&A. It forces the AI to pull precise, specific numbers out of these super dense, complex SEC filings, a place where almost correct is just another way of saying completely wrong. And the results, they're just staggering. The very best traditional RAG systems, they max out at around 65% accuracy on this test. PageIndex, it hit 98.7%. That's not just a little better. That's a whole different ballgame. It's a different class of performance entirely. Yeah, just let that number sink in for a second. 98.7%. In high-stakes fields like finance or law or medicine, where being factually correct is totally non-negotiable, this level of reliability is an absolute game changer. It's the difference between a cool tech demo and a tool you can actually bet your business on. But, of course, there's a catch. That incredible accuracy comes at a price. As they say, there's no free lunch, especially in AI. And this is a trade-off you absolutely have to understand. And that trade-off is speed, or latency. A vector search is blazing fast. We're talking milliseconds. PageIndex, on the other hand, is a lot slower because it has to make multiple calls to a language model to literally think its way through the document tree. A single question can take 30 seconds or even more. It gives you a much better answer, but yeah, it's going to make you wait for it.
So what does this all mean? Well, the key thing to remember is that PageIndex isn't a silver bullet. It's not here to replace vector search everywhere. Instead, it's a powerful new tool in the toolbox, and it's designed for very specific, high-precision jobs. And this table really lays it all out. For high-stakes Q&A on structured documents, think financial reports, legal contracts, where you simply cannot afford to be wrong, PageIndex is the obvious choice. But for things that need to be fast and handle huge scale, like a chatbot answering general questions, traditional vector RAG is still going to be your best bet. So when you boil it all down, this is the core idea to take away. PageIndex fundamentally changes the game from searching to reading. It's not about just finding text that sounds right anymore. It's about genuine comprehension. The AI is no longer just a search engine, it's a reader. And that kind of brings us to a much bigger question, doesn't it? For the tasks that really matter, the ones where precision is everything, is search even the right way to think about it anymore? Maybe, just maybe, the future of AI isn't about finding answers, but about reasoning its way to them.